over there. I think let me do it over here. Let me sit here. Yep. I'm sorry for fidgeting around. Yeah. Yeah, so good. I almost said good evening, but yeah, good morning. I'm sorry for fidgeting around. I was trying to find a better place where I can have a better light. So, first of all, I want to apologize. These days, it has become very difficult for me to be coming live at 20 hours for a number of reasons, really. I'm having my own challenges. And yeah, sometimes it's a bit difficult to clear your mind. You can only talk, and make sense when psychologically you are okay. But when there are issues that are not well, handled, it becomes difficult. Yeah, it becomes a little bit difficult. But I hope, somehow God will help. So, Mama Nanum, first of all, I want to start now by telling you that, you see, you people, I said this from the word go. From the word go, I told you that in Lungu, the death of Edgar Lungu has highly been politicized. And people are trying to get political capital out of it. People are trying to get political capital out of it. Sorry, I have to do one thing. I have to switch on the aircon. It's hot in here. I said it just when we started. I said this just when Edgar Lungu died. I told you that Abantu, they want to get political capital out of the death of Edgar Lungu. And some of you have been accusing me, no, you are being uncouth, you are being insensitive, you cannot talk about the widow like that, and so on and so forth. But surely, Nangu, even if you people, you are so loyal to whoever you are loyal to, even if you are so loyal, even if you are so naive, honestly, how can you today not see the political machinations attached to President Edgar Lungu's death? How can you not see it? Can't you see how everything has played out? Can't you see how everything has played out? From the time that Edgar Lungu died. But actually, let me tell you this. I told you before, I told you that when Edgar Lungu died, people didn't want to announce that Edgar Lungu is dead. Instead, they wanted to embalm the body and keep it for 2 years, meaning until after the elections. They wanted to continue using Edgar Lungu to say, Edgar Lungu has said this, Edgar Lungu has said this, and yet Edgar Lungu is gone. I told you, and these things, it's not that I talk about them from a political sense. These are facts. These are facts. And if you go back even before Edgar Lungu died, Edgar Lungu, and God is seeing me here, that I'm not lying. Edgar Lungu was reluctant to come back into politics. Edgar Lungu was reluctant. I went a number of times to ask Edgar Lungu to come back into politics. He refused. He was refusing. He was refusing. Edgar Lungu was refusing to come back into politics. I was interacting with Edgar Lungu one-on-one. He was refusing. And that is how I asked him to say, so who are you supporting? Because we need an opposition. We need a strong opposition. Because at that time, I saw that UPND was growing wings. I saw that UPND was becoming big-headed. And we needed an opposition. That is what I was looking for. That is why I went to Edgar Lungu. I went to Edgar Lungu because I needed an opposition, a strong opposition. I looked around. There was no strong person that could challenge Hakainde Hichilema. I have been saying this from time immemorial. I've been saying that between Edgar Lungu, between Hakainde Hichilema, without Edgar Lungu, there is no one in between there. There is no one. If you remove when Edgar Lungu was not there, there was no one in between here who could really challenge Hakainde Hichilema. And I was looking for that person that would come in to at least offer, a substantive opposition to Hakainde Hichilema. There was no one. And that is why I went to Edgar Lungu. Because only Edgar Lungu had at least some political cloth, some political strength to fight Hakainde Hichilema. Without Edgar Lungu, nothing. And I went to Edgar Lungu. Edgar Lungu was refusing first. He was refusing. And I asked him then, so who should we pick? Who should I go with? Edgar Lungu himself told me, look around and see who you find. I looked around and finally I looked at Brian Mundubile. Brian Mundubile is clean. Brian Mundubile has got a quality leadership. Brian Mundubile is reliable. Brian Mundubile has got a heart. And these issues, I lived them. I didn't know Brian Mundubile. Brian Mundubile is not somebody that I've known for a long time. I came to know Brian Mundubile during the time of, the Bill 10, when there was this constitutional review. That is when I knew Brian Mundubile. And I looked at him to say, this guy looks okay. And eventually we became close. So I went to Edgar Lungu and I asked him to say, what about Brian Mundubile? And he said, it's okay. That man is okay. And that's how I started. Brian Mundubile. And Edgar Lungu himself had a meeting with Brian Mundubile. And he told him, Jacob, take up the responsibility. I'm not coming back. Very sure. But then all of a sudden, after Lungu Vaisa South Korea, some of you have been saying, no, Lungu was not going out. Lungu was not going out. Lungu went to South Korea. Actually, that time, first he went to South Africa. He came back. After South Africa, he even told me to say, after my trip to South Africa, I'm even more convinced that I should not come back into politics. After he went to South Africa, he came back. I don't know what the doctors told him, but when he came back, he said, I am very sure that now I shouldn't get back into politics. From nowhere, Edgar Lungu went to South Korea. When he went to South Korea, when he came back, there was a change of heart. That is when now he started coming to say, no, Shan, he didn't say clearly that he wants to come back. But clearly I could see that he wanted to come back. But whenever he was talking about coming back, Esther Lungu was always next to Edgar Lungu. Esther Lungu was always next to Edgar Lungu. And Esther Lungu's contribution was always the same. Mudiva Mwenso, you are scared. You are a scared man. You are a scared man. And I could tell that Edgar Lungu did not change his mind. Basically on himself. It was influenced by Esther. It was influenced by Esther. One of the meetings which we used to have there, Kunganda Kuaibix, even Winter Kavimba can tell you. Ask for Winter Kavimba Nganderepa, Tualekara Patebo, Tualikere Patebo, one time. Esther was there, Esther was a protagonist, played a role in Edgar Lungu coming back. And what I heard is that, somehow, when they went to South Korea, he was Katushinga Wadiwa Peperela or whatever it is. But Esther was really at the center of Lungu coming back. And Esther was part of the issue of pushing away Mundubile. That is how Mundubile was pushed away so that Edgar Lungu come back. She was part and parcel of all this nonsense of Edgar Lungu coming back. I'm telling you this because I want you to understand the background and what is currently happening. It has got a background. Now, Edgar Lungu didn't really want to come back into politics. These people around, they are the ones who were pushing him. And some of the people that were pushing him, given Lubinda, Nakachinda, Nabanan, they were pushing him. They were candiles who were around Edgar Lungu. And most of these candiles, they had lost their footing in the political arena. Listen to me very well. Listen at this point. Most of these people that surrounded Edgar Lungu, who were pushing him, they had lost a footing on the political stage. They had lost a footing on the political stage. How? For example, those who lost Ama elections, there were those who lost Ama elections in 2021. These are the people who were around Edgar Lungu. Given Lubinda did not contest, and he was nowhere. He was nowhere. The only job that Given Lubinda had was acting as vice president, not acting because he was appointed. So that was the job that he had. Without Given Lubinda being acting president or acting president, because at one point he was even given the powers to act, if you remember. Okay, if you remember, there was a letter that was written to say he's acting president. So the only job that Given Lubinda had was to act as PF president. And this his job was dependent on Edgar Lungu. Without Edgar Lungu, Given Lubinda's appointment was in question. And then we had these other guys, Nakachinda. What job did Nakachinda have? Nakachinda didn't contest. If not being SG, then what? But so his political life was dependent on Edgar Lungu, who appointed him as Secretary General. Given Lubinda, his survival in politics was dependent on Edgar Lungu. Without Edgar Lungu, then that's it. He doesn't have a job. Then you can talk of others in there were shamu because but you can look around the people that used to be around Edgar Lungu. It is those that lost elections and those who had no job politically. And their survival in politics was dependent on Edgar Lungu. And this is why they were pushing Edgar Lungu to continue in politics. Even when Edgar Lungu was now sick, some of us, me personally, I said Mdalava is not okay. We knew of the sickness of Lungu, and I said it to many people. I even said it here on live. I said, those of you who want to be presidents, just campaign. Edgar Lungu doesn't have the courage to appoint another person. But why Edgar Lungu didn't have the courage? It's because these people that surrounded him, they couldn't allow him. Because if at all Edgar Lungu had withdrawn, what would have happened? Or if we would have needed a convention. Okay? If Edgar Lungu had withdrawn, had resigned, what was needed was a convention. And a convention, these political candidates who were around Edgar Lungu, they knew that they didn't stand a chance. They knew that they would lose. They knew that presidents might go to somebody else. And that person who would get the presidency would be the one to appoint who should be Secretary General, would be the one to appoint who should be Vice President. So already you can see the fear that Given Lubinda had. You can see the fear that Nakachinda had. You can see the fear that these people around had. They were scared for their political life. Without Lungu, they were nothing. And they kept Lungu there. They insisted. Yes, you would say, but you were also pushing a label de lapo. Yes, I was pushing a label de lapo. But afterwards you realize that there are these challenges. And one of the challenges that Edgar Lungu had, number one, Mwenso, which Esther was attacking him for. Number two, his financial position was not very clear to me. Some of you used to say, no, I never saw Lungu's money. Then the third point, which was very important, by Lungu Baliwele. And I started saying, let somebody take over, let somebody take over, let somebody take over. But once they were scared. Those who had potential to become presidents, they were scared. Including Mundubile, we know it, because Mundubile ngale fire Ngari Vivula, even before Lungu Talafwa. But they were scared, and according to them, they say loyalty. Yes, you can say loyalty. Yeah, Brand Mundubile, I can put it to say it was loyalty. But then again, you know, I didn't understand this loyalty. For me, I was a little bit uncomfortable. And I feel that I was right, actually. I was right. So, they wanted Edgar Lungu to stay in power. Without Edgar Lungu, their political life was gone. Their political life was gone. And they kept him. But Edgar Lungu afwa. Edgar Lungu dies. And when he died now, they had that problem. These people, they were living, they were like ticks sticking on Edgar Lungu. Their political life was dependent on Edgar Lungu. That was their political life support. Their political life support was Edgar Lungu. So they held on to him. But Edgar Lungu dies. Now, after he dies, I mean, this guy is the one that used to keep us. How are we going to go on? Those issues number. No, no, whatever. All this nonsense that they tell you, it is nothing but them trying to survive. Them trying to survive. Including Esther, I speak on a firm ground. Esther has been part of the political life of Lungu. She has been very much political. She has been in the background, but pushing Lungu. Even when he was alive, Esther no komudi. Usheva Lungu tabale myewo kobati. Iwe ulanda kwa tinyaba. But I'm different from Sata. Lungu used to say that. I'm different from Sata. I'm different from you. Pointing me. I'm different from you. I can't be like you. I'm on my own. So allow me. I was pushing him to say, come out, come out, come out. You know? So that man I can't say may he so rest in peace. That man was used even when he was alive. And even now, this issue that we have, where Lungu is not buried, it is nothing but the political survival of some of these individuals. Political survival. Political survival. Without Lungu, they are nothing. And that's why they have been holding on to that. Makebi Zulu has known the trick of holding on to some of these people who have got power. Makebi Zulu, remember, Makebi Zulu was stuck with Arabi. He stuck with Arabi. He showed loyalty to Arabi. Okay, he showed loyalty to Arabi when Arabi lost power. When Arabi lost power, remember there were cases against Arabi. Makebi Zulu was defending Arabi. He was defending Arabi. And through that, that is how he got connected to Edgar Lungu. Because after Arabi lost power to Sata, Sata died. And when Sata died, Edgar Lungu needed somebody to help him. And the person that helped, especially financially, it was Arabi. Arabi helped Edgar Lungu to become president financially, and he also gave him Eastern Province. Arabi's popularity in Eastern Province was very solid. And the Eastern Province was given to Edgar Lungu by Arabi. In that negotiation of rewarding Arabi for giving Edgar Lungu resources at the Eastern Province, that is how you saw people like Makebi Zulu becoming MP and minister. That is how you saw people like Boma Nusambo coming in as MP and minister. They came from Arabi. There are other people that came with, that were brought in by RB, given to Edgar Lungu. Now, this Makebi Zulu, after RB Afwa, he became very close now to Edgar Lungu. And Bakabwalala. RB is specialized in defending Bakabwalala. Makebi Zulu is specialized in defending people that are alleged to have embezzled our resources. One of the cases, but the case that Makebi Zulu was defending RB, it was the case here oil. If you remember, some of you who may remember, it was the case here oil ya Nigeria, where RB went and sourced oil from Nigeria, okay? That Nigeria supplies us with oil. But later on it was discovered that that oil which Nigeria was supposed to bring to Zambia could not be used in Zambia. And so, but the deal was already made. And so that oil had to be sold somewhere else, as if it is being sold to the Zambian government. But that did not come to Zambia. That oil was sold somewhere else. And anyway, that is the case. I don't want to dwell so much on that. But that was the case. That was the case which brought Makebi Zulu to defend RB. Now, and then MPF, you have seen. Bonseba Kabwalala bam PF. Lawyer wabo ni nani? Ni Makebi Zulu. Lawyer wabo ni Makebi Zulu. The lawyer for most of these people that have stolen money in Zambia, including Malanji, it is Makebi Zulu. And so Makebi Zulu has played his cards very well. When Lungu died, Makebi Zulu was in South Africa. Makebi Zulu knows well the journey to the death of Edgar Lungu. He knows very well. Makebi Zulu, they were together with Vamayowa Esther Lungu. They were together. And whatever has happened, they must have been planning together. They have been planning together. They planned everything together. Whatever has happened, there is no way you can remove Esther Lungu out of this. No, but Esther Lungu has been part of this. And later on, I've come to learn that Edgar Lungu had deposited money in a number of people. A number of people, whereby he has given them money, they start businesses, they operate businesses, and the owner, it's Edgar Lungu. It's Edgar Lungu. And who is the lawyer helping Edgar Lungu to, strike these contracts with these different people? It is Makebi Zulu. So, now that Lungu is dead, who knows exactly who holds money for Edgar Lungu? It is Makebi Zulu and Esther. And this is where now this whole conundrum comes in. This conundrum comes in because now there are interests to protect. There is money to protect, and there is power to be gotten. Power to be gotten from Hakainde Ichilem. But they want to remove Hakainde Ichilem. And so Makebi Zulu has really been staging himself to take over power and to make sure that he continues with whatever embezzlement that was done during the time of Edgar Lungu. So Makebi Zulu at the moment is powerful in terms of what? Powerful, number one, in terms of resources. Because he's the one who knows. He's the one who, I suspect, this one I can't say for a fact, but I suspect as his lawyer, is the one that must have been drafting some of these documents with people that were given money in different countries to run businesses for Edgar Lungu. Makebi Zulu must know about this. He must know about this. But Esther, of course, as the wife, she must know about this. Now, somebody is saying, but Too much confusion, too much confusion. Now, I'm coming. Now, where does Given comes in? Given Lubinda's survival is dependent on Edgar Lungu. Given Lubinda's political survival is dependent on Edgar Lungu. Is dependent on Edgar Lungu. But you say, but he's dead. Yes, he's dead. But there is a guy that is at the center. There is a guy that is carrying the resources that Edgar Lungu and the connections that Edgar Lungu had. That is Makebi Zulu. And he's being supported by the wife. And this is why they staged up all that nonsense that has been going on in South Africa. No, that was shike, no, whatever. No, these are all machinations to make sure that they keep the power, they retain the power, and they keep the money. Makebi Zulu is not coming for you Zambians. Makebi Zulu is not coming for you Zambians. Makebi Zulu is not coming to be president for you. No, Makebi Zulu is coming in to make sure that all the monies and the connections that Edgar Lungu had are preserved. The day Makebi Zulu would become president, if he become president, if at all he would become president, it will mean all those Vakabwalalas, they will be restored. All those Vakabwalalas, they will be restored. And the power, but Esther, she is interested in that power. She was the first lady, and she feel insulted to be going through courts and the processes and everything that she has been going through. So these people, they are there. It is like a group. And Given Lubinda is sitting there like a small boy with, sitting, next to the king. He has to benefit something. He has to survive. He has to survive. So, never given on himself, on his own. He doesn't have a political strength. He doesn't have. Given doesn't have a political strength. He doesn't. He is a person, is a veteran politician. He has been around, but he doesn't have capacity. Given Lubinda doesn't have capacity to spin things for himself. He doesn't. So, Given Lubinda, yes, he's a presidential candidate, but I can assure you, Given knows that he cannot beat another person. He cannot beat, particularly, he cannot beat Mundubile. He knows, Given knows deep down his heart, he knows he cannot beat Mundubile. And unfortunately, for most of these guys, Mundubile is well sold. Mundubile is clean. He's not like the Kabwalalas. He's not among the thieves. He's not among the thieves. Mundubile doesn't have a case that Makebi Zulu is defending. No, he doesn't. He doesn't have. He's not part of the Kabwalalas. So Mundubile is like an outcast. He's like an outcast. So what is going on at the moment? It is they are trying to fight to eliminate Mundubile. They are trying to eliminate Mundubile. All this nonsense, it is those that were parasites, that were parasitical to Edgar Lungu. And Edgar Lungu is dead. And they are still holding on Kuchitumbi. They are sucking blood Muchitumbi. They can't let go. They can't bury. They can't bury. So once they are and then Waisamona Mundubile Kukusaiduku, he is seemingly doing much better than all of them. If you put Mundubile and Given Lubinda, Mundubile is far much better. Even yourselves, you have seen. You saw Mundubile with his crowd at the secretariat. You saw Mundubile. You saw Given Lubinda with his crowd at the secretariat. You have seen how ingenious Brian has been reaching out to other leaders. Given Lubinda had Chanda, Peter Chanda. They are the ones who had held the Tonse Purpose vehicle. They were the ones. But they failed to manage Peter Chanda. And Peter Chanda has left them. Right now, they don't even have a Purpose vehicle. But Mundubile, if you see, Mundubile is the one that is sitting with other opposition leaders. He's sitting with KBF. He's sitting with the Fred Mende. He's sitting. Given Lubinda is not. Given Lubinda is not. Given doesn't have the capacity. Given knows he cannot win an election. So instead of letting go to say Brian should become, he wants to save himself. How does he want to save himself? He's aligning himself with the Lungus, with the Kagwalalas, because they are the ones who have got capacity. And this is a group that has been there, that has been sucking political life out of Edgar Lungu. They have been sucking political life out of Edgar Lungu. And they have to continue. They have to survive. So they are ganging up together. They are ganging up together. They are coming together. These changes, the droppings that you saw where the given is dropping this one and what and what. These are people that they have seen that they are on Brian Mundubile's side. They are on Brian Mundubile. They want to make sure they have ganged up against Mundubile. This is what it is. They have ganged up against Mundubile. They want to kick out Mundubile. So that, you know, but yeah, I'm a political suckers. Bakwa Edgar Lungu, those who have been sucking blood out of Edgar Lungu can emerge victorious. And at this point in time, Makebi Zulu, because Makebi Zulu is connected to Esther Lungu. Makebi Zulu, if you ask me, where is Makebi Zulu getting the strength? Where is Makebi Zulu getting the authority? Where? Eh? Be real, think. Where is Makebi Zulu getting authority? Where? Edgar Lungu is gone. Makebi Zulu is getting authority from Esther. From Esther. And everybody is converging around Esther. And this Makebi Zulu is anointed by Esther. Don't say no, niba mukamfuirwa. Tapuli mukamfuirwa. Abantu awa niba bachabe. Abantu awa bachabe, they are planning. So don't be blindfolded. Don't be hoodwinked in some sympathy of of bereavement. No, these people are planning. These people have been planning, and all these things that you are seeing, what Given has done, it is to make sure that they fix Mundubile. They want to fix Mundubile. I've been avoiding talking so much about Mundubile because I don't want to be seen like, you know, I'm still supporting Mundubile. I'm supporting Haka in the Ichilema now. I'm supporting Haka in the Ichilema now. So I've been avoiding talking so much about Mundubile and the vaccinations going on against Mundubile. I've been avoiding because I don't want people to mistake me that I'm still supporting Brian Mundubile. For 2026, I'm supporting Haka in the Ichilema. No doubt. I'm supporting Haka in the Ichilema. And let me tell you, I'm a politics. It is about, what serves your interest. No, it's about what serves your interest. In Haka in the Ichilema, number one, yes, from the national point of view, I want continuity. I want Haka in the Ichilema to continue. I want continuity. I don't want changes in leadership. It costs the country. We cannot afford to be changing governments every 5 years. Every 5 years, the country will not develop. Look at I'm sorry I can mention this country. Look at Italy. Italy has been changing prime ministers, prime minister. Italy is in Europe, and yet Italy is struggling economically. Why? Because of changing leaders. Countries that have developed, I'm telling you, they have stability at the leadership level. When you don't have stability at the leadership level, it becomes difficult for a country to develop because whoever comes in, he comes in with his own views, with his own ideas. And they tend to undo what the other person, what the previous leader, the predecessor did. They undo. And they tend to fire this one, hire. It is cumbersome. It is cumbersome. And I'm telling you, my brothers and sisters, we don't need to change government in 2026. That is number one. Number two, on a personal level, me, I want to come back home. And I am, after elections, I want to be home. After elections, I want to be home. I want to come back home. And haka in the ichilema. As much as you say, oh, haka in the ichilema terela. That is not the perception I have of haka in the ichilema today. That is not the perception of haka in the ichilema I have today. Look at Amos Chanda. Look at Frankie Bwade. Because some of you like to say, but you used to say this, what things did Frankie Bwade say about haka in the ichilema? What about Amos? What about Sunday Chanda? There are a number of people. Hakainde Hichilema has matured in politics. So Hakainde Hichilema, I'm seeing him as a person that can unify the country. Yes, there is this tag. No, Hakainde Hichilema is a dictator. Hakainde Hichilema is tribal. No, Hakainde Hichilema has matured. Hakainde Hichilema can help to unify Zambia. And I want to be part of that unity. And that is why I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema. Yes, I'm telling you, I want to come back home and I want to be part of the unity government that is coming next year. Next year there will be a unity government and I want to be part of that unity government. So, if you have been doubting, whatever, I want to tell you, what is my interest? My interest is that I want to come back next year in the unity government of Hakainde Hichilema. These others, I don't see them to have the capacity. Even Brian Mundubile, he doesn't have the capacity. He doesn't. I still maintain that after HH, since Lungu died, there is no one in between. Hakainde Hichilema will be having 5 million votes. The next person that will have votes will have 200,000 votes. 200,000 votes. And I don't want to lose. Why should I? I'm sorry to Brian Mundubile. I'm sorry. Yes, he's my friend. Yes, I believe in him. But he can't win an election. He can't. So, Namieva, I'm a reasons. And since I've told you the reason now, I'm telling you now that Brian Mundubile, they want him out. So, while I was giving you my reasons or my interest, I want you not to think that I'm supporting Brian Mundubile. I've given you my reasons why I'm supporting Hakainde Hichilema. And I'm not supporting Brian because Brian, I know he will not win an election next year. He cannot win an election against Hakainde Hichilema. If Brian Mundubile will be on the ballot and he gets 200,000 votes, ni shabomba. Ababambia bashala, ngabakwata 50 votes ni shwabomba. Ba Fred Membe ngabakwata 20 votes ni shwabomba. Uyuna nkano yu adshan sangwa, ngabakwata 5 votes ni shabomba. Ale ngima 0. So I am a political strategist. I know where I'm going. I know where I'm landing. But Brian Mundubile is being ostracized. He's being kicked out by Bakawalala, those political parasites who were surviving on Edgar Lungu. The Chitumbi family are the ones who are coming up with all these machinations. Don't think that what Given Lubinda has done is for himself. No. Given Lubinda knows he has already lost this election. Given Lubinda knows that he will not manage to beat Brian Mundubile. So the only thing that they can do is to come together and defeat Brian Mundubile. The opposition that they have within PF is Brian Mundubile. They are even coming up with, look at the things that they are coming up. They are coming up to say, no, Brian Mundubile is working with UPND. Brian Mundubile is working with UPND. But really, I know Brian. If there is one guy that you can trust, at least, but politician, you can't trust him. But if there is one guy that you can trust, at least Brian, you can put your bet and have some chance to say, Shala bomba. Not our shala. Given Lubinda win. Given Lubinda is a liar. Given Lubinda, wabu forgiven, wabu fit bad kind. Wabu forgiven. He sued me in court and the court can, no, I don't know. He has never even been in my house. And yet I used to eat in his house. I used to sit on his table eating with him. But he comes up in court and he says, no, he has never been in my house. Given wabu fee. And he's a traitor given. He is a traitor. That's why Basatawa mutamfishe nchito. Basatawa mutamfishe nchito given because of Wutreta. Given was fired by Basata because of Wutreta. He's a traitor. And even here, given Lubinda is playing around, they have gone on one side. They are on this side. They are fighting Brian Mundubile. But I can tell you about PF, if there is any chance that you have to survive, if there is any chance that you have to survive, it's Brian Mundubile. If there is any chance that you have to survive on the political landscape, it's Brian. Only Brian can at least take you somewhere. But you PNG, tabale muikata Brian, because Brian Mundubile, chinshi wala muikatira. They are saying, no, it's a project. Tell me what Brian has committed. Because on social media, malice muapena, slander muapena. You are always slandering. You are always, coming up with things. Bring up what do you have against Brian? What has Brian done? That by UPND, nangu for ayama cases, nangu they want to fix people. What do they have on Brian? What? Even Mwene you don't have. So it is not that Brian is a UPND project. It is just that the guy doesn't have anything that you can hold on. There is nothing. I've walked through to my cases. No, it was not Brian. It was not Brian. I had interaction with so many people. You can ask Chitotera who is in prison. He will tell you about Museo Mulanda Po, Museo. Chitotera knows. Chitotera was for infrastructure. He knows better about that road. He can tell you. No, Brian. Shani. What you are free? Where was Brian? Where was Brian in all that? So, they can hear there is nothing that UPND can have. And from a democratic point of view, I think for me, I would say let Brian succeed so that we can have an opposition. The only opposition that we can have after 2026, because I will be part of government, the only opposition that we can have after 2026 in the government that I will be, we can declare Shamdar. We can declare Shamdar. Papa Karunga Tapavenson. No come you conserve Amdaranga, Mulepanga Muchechi, Mufuremwaishiva. Therefore, in 2026. After my elections, I should be part of it. I mean, our ministers, Muakwata, about Efron Okulanda. And Efron Okulanda, Muntu minister, Ngaisua Kanwa, my problems, Yekaeka, Ngaisua Kanwa, my problems, Yekaeka. So surely, I mean, if those people that you have appointed are ministers, you don't have a minister. I don't know what kind of name we can stave. You know, not straightforward. Ndalandira. How are you Ndalandira pom? Now you are very straightforward. Therefore, in Chito. It's on the fire. I support therefore in Chito. Therefore in Chito after my elections. Therefore in Chito. And I know Aka Indechima will give me a job. Not from Musawa. Hey, why don't you come back? Why don't you come back? She will go with a number. Therefore, we sang an aquatic. So I some number on some station. No, come back. Hey, why don't you come back? In case I can pesa. In case I yenshi. Nganalisa ku Zambia. If I come back to Zambia today, Nkwela ndekenshe ku Zambia. Ukesandisha. Mwema sabaira. No. Hey, why don't you come back? Why don't you come back? Ngana wela ku Zambia lero. Ukesandisha nkesa kala munganda mumove. Nkesa no rupo rwandi na bakashibandi. Ukatupeleko bedroom, uko tukale ikara. Ukale tulisha. Kutuwa tulisha iwe. kuti watulisha walishwa budget yana nkana ya bari wofo yaba ku Ethiopia kwa ama spices inkoko ama spices 20 ama spices yakula umutengo ama spices yachira n'inkoko umutengo kuti mwaisandisha ini na bikwata bakashaba suma mfire ngana nsaisa kuzambia ninkwata nchito ninkwata nenganda na motoka ninkwata ala iwe ungalenda panish ukeze na aliwa strategic ine ndatontonkanya echo nshira ku Zambia inganda yandi bali toba you saw all of you bali toba inganda there is nothing. I sold everything. Chongana bwela ngesa ikala pesa. Hey, come back. Why don't you come back? Bloody fool. Ngesa ikala mungande wokesandisha. Ndefo okwisa aka inde ichile mangampere nchito. Ero apate jampere nchito. Alambika pesa aka inde ichile. Where is aka inde ichile going to put me? Where is aka inde ichile going to put me? But after my elections, afira kandanguluke aka inde ichile. Brani Mundubile techa wina my elections. Brani Mundubile techa wina my elections. Paka kano bungata pavenson. Brani Mundubile techa wina my elections. Munandi. Ero is powerful, yes. But he can't win an election. Ero Brani Mundubile futi techa ndishe. Hala? Fishing kefendemye wakumya wa fishing kaba ndara pa. Efo fili. So, he on some machinations. Ukulanda Venombata as a public lawyer. These machinations, all these things that are currently going on, is to push Makebi Zulu. This is all about pushing Makebi Zulu. Lubinda na monokwa pale okovalea. He knows. And they want to push, and Lubinda knows. Ukoba tukuli Makebi Zulu kuli urupia. Ero na nenga nalikweta mano ya buka bwala ala. Ngana nalikweta mano ya bukuruku. Na ina wenenga ndele ndala mashakwa Makebi Zulu ndeni yewe. If ngana likweta mano ya bukabwalala ngandeye ndaramasha kwa Makebi Zulu nomba ine nshifwaya ukuli ndaramasha bukabwalala. I want at least if you're on dolweke not ndaramasha chitumbi tefo nava. So if you want money kuli Makebi kuli rupia Makebi Zulu na baesta lunga ewe shive ndaramasha yashonse shobale ronga mulika presidential jet eko shava ewe shive ba Mundubile bare ona ule diru chiraiti ba Mundubile are ona ule diru bakabwana na bali kubale plana then barosha Mundubile which kambo yale to na ule diru Mundubile are ona ule diru. If you look around, even the people that are around Mundubile takuni bakabwana even ba Davis Mwira Davis Mwira look at what Davis Mwira bamtala bakwera pofi nenkoko abanawo bale bekata na million mumachanchani bena bamdala wa Davis Mwira. The only thing that he showed us that he has ninkoko inkoko shamani amani train mo 30 kwacha 30 kwacha pakwa tukwate ukwate 3000 dishinga mani ufile wa shoko 100 jamani tapkuli bakabwala kuli Brani Mundubile bakabwala bali uku bali kuli. They are protecting their interest. Abantu ni bakabwalala and Brani Mundubile are wona wida. But from my perspective, the only person that is better, even after tukaba mu government, who ingaba good opposition, ni Brani Mundubile. He's a better guy. In terms of PF, PF tapanyo point. Na ikwatama issues PF. Na CPF chineta Valerwila, CPF chalitobeka. Valerwila CPF CPF chalitobeka. Ati no, Brani Mundubile, alifo kutwala ku UPN, alifo kutwala ku nani kale, kushani, ku FDD. Yes, you need a purpose vehicle. So if Brani is thinking of bringing FDD in, that is a good thing. I would say Brani Mundubile, go for it. Go for it, Brian. And I can tell you, Brian, ababantunga chakwa tibale fefi abupuba ubaleke no kubaleka iweko nkanyapo go get a purpose vehicle ngani UPN ngani FDD ngani katushi ishishibanga bani kwali barumati ba KBF partner. But anyway, whichever ngani socialist, get a purpose vehicle. Get a purpose vehicle. Ababa kabwala alaba. Don't even waste the time because your PF valela ndapo PF takuli. Eronga ni makebizulu. Makebizulu takwete future. Takwete future ndemeba. Takwete future. Haka inde ichilema tumpa. Uwako bati esale kere makebizulu. Makebizulu after all that upuwa achitamudia. And makebizulu to come and be on the ballot. Contesting with haka inde ichilema. You think Hakainde Hichilema is that foolish? You really think Hakainde Hichilema? Because Wamakebi Zulu, there is working. Muzambia, kwati niwa studying. Kwati niwa studying. Bada yunfwa. Niwa Makebi Zulu. Bada na mjimu, bada joga, shan. Iwe. Hakainde Hichilema is not stupid. We are allowing you to do your nonsense at the moment. Because your time is coming. There is something that has been prepared for you, Makebi. There is something that has been prepared and not prepared maliciously. Not prepared maliciously. But there is an issue surrounding the death of Edgar Lungu. There are issues. And those issues, they will be dealt with very soon. Makebi Zulu. Nifila balanda chumo anaika lishanganya. Makebi Zulu akeka la mumafi. Makebi Zulu aleika la mumafi. No mbali na akeka la mumafi. Makebi Zulu. No akumu pipa taka mumone. Ndiye mieba. Hivi tunapangale lo. Pachiverushi. Ndiye mieba mkanji ukisha. Ukwe bati Makebi Zulu akeka la mumafi yakwe. No akumu pipa takwa kave. So, bakawala la mose mwa ituntumba. And you political amateurs, you political infancy, like akaka nani kanachikansha atikanani akakamwa ichaka. Atikanani aka. Akakamwa ichika mavere aka. Akaka mavere atikana nimwe. Akaka kamwa ichika kwa tamavere kwa tima ni twin tower ya ku Malaysia. Atikanani. Lembeni kwa munani kane. Kama ichika fima vere fikurufi. Kanani. Umutu ati chair of whatever. Mukekala panshi mwaichi. Mukekala panshi. No mbali neve mukekala panshi. Ine. I'm a political strategist. Muntu andikale na tambama politics ndafimona. Kwa na alole shapa ba Mundubile ate tiba kwanishe abanani awe turafe na Hakainde Hichilema forward chave ninji shiwecho ndera forward muntu wandi ninji shiwecho ndera forward tetimiwe ninji shiwecho ndera forward tapari mwina ibepa. Even some of you think no things are very bad. Things have been bad even in the time of UNIP. Things have been bad even in the time of UNIP. That's why Chiruba became president, because things were bad. That is why Sata became president, because things were bad. Things have always been bad. But this time around, Hakainde Hichilema is not going. It's not going. Na ngumukwate hallucination ya shani. Mure ibe pafi. Imwe, uwala mufunyapo Hakainde Hichilema ni nani? You think imwapo nga mwaikala mwebene batatu babiri batatu ni mumona muri Zambia yikulu mwirai bepanga mwaikala muleno wakachasu mwambo kuibepa muleni ama beggars nenda la mashakwiba isha kwa Lungu, and you think that mtima wina my election tete muwine kwa pa ballot nshamewera kamudolo takakabepa ballot. Didn't I tell you that Kamudolo takakabepo permanent can form ballot? Where is Kamudolo? Mwaris changwa. Hey, Mudolo. Where is Mudolo today? No, you will never keep Bizulu. Nobody nefi. I like la mafia kwe. Nobody nefi make Bizulu. So, ababonsa make banan kane ba given Lubinda tabatontonganyo okufika patali ba given Lubinda bali kwata mano but tabatontonganyo okufika patali amano yabo taya sana tayaya sana balafira okuyapatali balafira okuyapatali bagive Lubinda yamananike ne mulecha tapali okumuleya Wamdala. If you want advice, call me. I'll give you a good advice. Not a mama's nations mulecha. Not a mama's nations mulecha ba given Lubinda. Mukaisanga muli mwamone ni nobody never ba given. Mukaisanga muli mwamone ni Wamdala. Mukaisanga muli mwamone. Mukaisanga muli mwamone ni Wamdala. Mukaisanga muli mwamone ni na weke shapo mukaisanga muli mwamone ni. I don't want to reveal things. Around you. But I can tell you, Wamdala, iyo mulecha ya mama's nation. Lekele niko kuchitumbi ba given. Lekele niko kuchitumbi musheni makebizuru. Mwarasha la pambiribiri Wamdala. Mwarasha la pambiribiri. Yerama pipa mitobere. Yachepa because you've been problems. Wamdala given ndemyewa Wamdala inwe turapusana ndi watemwa but nalimitemwa Wamdala so for ndemyewa lekenya ama mass nations firekeni Wamdala chinjeni gear PF tapali iyo PF mwikete tapali PF tapali chinjeni gear Wamdala chinjeni gear wangu mwikonkere royo nanikani makebi zuru kabwalala muimukonkerera wa given Lubinda na miyewa muimukonkerera Wamdala lekeni aya nechitumbi chakwe tapaloko chileba twala takuli very soon the chickens will come to roost. That's all I can tell you. I don't want to talk too much, I don't want to review, but very soon the chickens will come to roost. Anyway, I think naranda sana tafikwenye tamufuide. Sorry if everybody. I am mass nations. Lubinda ndebo mfiro luse. If they want to get rid of Brian Mundubile. But I can tell you, the survival of the opposition at the moment, if there is somebody that is coming out, ule moneka kofiat uyu, ni Brian Mundubile. Ni Brian Mundubile. Okay, but nishita ule musapota. Nishile musapota because teta wina my elections in 2026. Irendefo kuwera. Nishilefo anka were. Mfilo kuwera kunjito. Inchito yandile ni politician. Ndefo baka indi ichima. Na ine baka nsove kwa kachito. Fila vine waso wako wachani. I'm even better off than some of these guys. I can do much better. So, every dash. I think na sawa ila sana. Bye.